Welcome to
Oh,
another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Absolutely fabulous guests the world over with all sorts of backgrounds. They're on their unique individual journey, but along the way, they've either gone through some sort of transformation or just decided they want to help others. We've had all sorts of backgrounds, a White House physician to the US president. That's a Rear Admiral retired these days, a Delta Force operator, youngest ever admitted, doctors, all different types, physicians, psychotherapists, New York Times bestselling authors, healers of all sorts. And we're probably now about 20 countries deep in terms of guest backgrounds. What I love is they come on, they share their stories and how they're helping others. Today, if it's the spiritual landscape, we have an absolutely fantabulous author. She's been around a long time. I have held her books in pretty much every spiritual bookshop I've ever been in. It's Margaret Ann Lembo coming to us from the Boynton Beach area of Florida. She's had Crystal Gardens. That's a 36-year crystal shop you can just walk into and browse. Again, feel good spot. Tons of books with her. She has covered the bases when it comes to spirituality. I'd just like to welcome Margaret to the show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. It's fabulous having you on.
thank you so much for having me on. Your even the name of your show is right up my alley. It's perfect.
Well, you've been in this space a super long time. I feel like you've pretty much covered so many different topics: aromatherapy, smudging, crystals, angels, and more. Where would you like to begin on how you got, the interest in doing this in the first place? Was it when you were way young, teenage years, or after university?
So kind of when I was little, really young, my one of my mentors, I'll call him a mentor, or my dad's one of his best friends, introduced me to Edgar Cayce at a young age, and the magic of believing, the even psycho-cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. I mean, I read that really young. And so I've had this whole power positive thought, and what you think about creates your reality since I was very small. And the angelic realm has been a very active part of my life as a very young child, and that was just a combination of being brought up in a Roman Catholic household, combined with that my sister was very good about saying, when I was nervous or scared, she'd say, Margaret, just remember you're surrounded by angels. And my childlike nature would actually visualize and know that that was in fact happening. Then progressed really fast, like through a lot. I, was a banker for many years. And when the banking industry crashed in 86, 87, stock market crash of 87, I thought, okay, I'll open the store for a little while until I can find, because I was in upper management. And so I ended up just staying because life meant for me to stay, or the universe, goddess, creator. This is my purpose to do the work that I do. It's not just in your face retail, it's so much more. So that evolved into the books and teaching and traveling and book tours. And that is a very fast zip through all of that.
Yeah, and you have quite a few books. We'll get to as many of them as we can today, and I'm going to assemble a slide with a lot of the book covers together for a few spots during the interview when it gets packaged up. Can you share with us? We're going to jump kind of tangentially for just 1 second. Can you
Sure.
share with us just one of those random moments? A customer comes into the store, but it's not the usual type of customer. It's someone who doesn't necessarily need help the usual way. Did you ever have a funky encounter where you think it might have been an angel coming into the store, a sparkly-eyed stranger, where it was really about the conversation you had with that individual? Or have you had any encounters out and about across the country or in your travels abroad where you just scratch your head today and you say, I'm glad that happened, or something about it, it just didn't fit in the normal scheme of things. It was above
Yeah.
and beyond.
There's quite a few. But the other day it came up because I was watching the news, and here in South Florida, I know you're familiar with the Palm Beach. And so we get riptides, especially this time of year. And it was showing what a riptide looks like, like a video where you could see how the water was different. And it made me all of a sudden have a flashback to my dad and I getting stuck in a riptide. This was probably in the maybe the late 70s. But and all of a sudden, this man out of nowhere, we were on a private beach. We was like very private beach, and this man out of nowhere came over the dune, came in, pulled us out. As we're like shaking off and trying to get it together, we look and he's nowhere to be found. And my sister and her little kids were on the beach during all of this. So it was like she was observing the same thing. And then also we said thank you, but he was gone. So that I always felt was angelic. And I thought, oh, if Michael asked me a question like that, I have to remember that because that was profound. That was profound. And then I have another one, if I may.
Oh,
When I
please, this is your show. So
I heard, that song, come sail away, and then a gathering of the angels, that the lyrics shift, where it's talking about a gathering of angels, and I'm pulling into the parking lot of Publix, which is a grocery store here in South Florida, for those of you that don't know. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go into Publix and make believe, I believe, but make believe that I'm just walking with a gathering of angels as I'm walking through the store. What a reaction. People, I had two different people in two different aisles do this to me. Namaste. And I'm in a regular grocery store. This is not like I'm walking in a metaphysical bookstore, and everybody was smiling at me. It was really cool. And I never tried it again. I probably should on a regular basis, walking through and have people walk through the energy fields of angels.
I love it. Okay, you've got a lot of books out. You've got a brand new book out that's basically, we'll call it this year into next year. You're going to probably have to do a book tour and everything else.
Yes.
Talk to us about what's absolutely one of your crown jewels, one of your favorites. Nobody gets tired of it. You don't get tired of it. Which one would you single out for people to check out first?
Of all of my books, because now there are going to be 11 in a few minutes. I would say The Essential Guide to Crystals, Minerals, and Stones. That has sold over 35,000 copies, which to me is it's a lot in our industry. That's a decent number of, but I also have a thing for angels. So yes, that's the cover. Isn't it beautiful? I love the cover too. It looks like rose quartz. Yeah, that one seems to be the most popular, but I have a strong affinity to The Essential Guide to Everyday Angels, which you showed that cover a few moments ago, because it really can help so many people have like some structure of how to connect with an angel, what to think about, what to ask, what to say. I call it petitions in the book, but it's basically you're saying a little prayer. Oh, please help me with, and then what you need help with, because angels want to be asked, as you know.
Okay, so let's back up though. Now, let's say it's teenage years, it's high school, it's college, somewhere along the way. Talk to us about how you were still paying attention, even though you got into like banking, finance. How did this all take root, and how did you just know then when '87 came along, there was the stock market crash, like it was October, I
Hmm.
think.
Hmm. It was.
You knew how to pivot. There must have been a basis, a foundation already in place. Describe that a little bit more in detail, if you could.
Sure. Sure. So in high school and college, I got into like understanding the tarot, understanding how that works, and continued with my power of positive thought. I also had started in the banking industry in college because I was a bank teller. I was trained in Manhattan, so I really did well here in South Florida because I was fast. And during that time, I had the connection I actually did correspondence courses with the Edgar Cayce Foundation, the Association for Research and Enlightenment. And that kept me having an avenue for learning and teaching and, continuing to improve myself. I always want that for myself, even to this day. It's always, improvement. But I also went on trips where I was going up to like the North Carolina, the Carolina region, and I'd walk into stores. They smelt good, they felt good. They mostly had pottery. It wasn't like a new age shop, but I remember very clearly knowing someday I'm going to have a store that people can walk into and they feel good. It wasn't about having a store and making a lot of money. It was about walking into a store and feeling good, which is still happening. I still get these comments every day, makes my heart so happy. And so that has been achieved. So that was the foundation then. So then when I got to that point where I had to pivot, I was blessed to be in a family, real estate family. So there was a piece of property that wasn't being used. So I'm still there 36 years later, but I asked my parents if I could, be there until I could get back into banking. And that's how that started. That's that pivot. It was like, okay, it's time. Oh, I had already also become like a partner, if you will, or a silent partner with girls that were buying crystals in Arkansas.
Oh,
I know. So here I was in the corporate world, but I invested as a silent partner. But if you get to know me at all, there's nothing silent about me.
okay.
So that didn't last very long.
And that group in Arkansas was they were going to make the pickups, so to speak. They scouted out the gems, the minerals, the truck
Yep.
runs to get. They buy in bigger bulk and then they resell. Is that the idea?
No, that in this case, it was just very small mom and pop where we were just buying clear quartz. And I wasn't even going on the trips. It was just
Okay.
two friends, two girls that were going out, getting some crystals. And then we were selling them like Tupperware parties at people's homes, setting up in their living room or dining room and making a pretty display. And so that's the beginning of the crystal aspect that really brought it home. Then when it was time to figure out what am I going to do now. I was senior VP. I was in upper management. I was like, how do I do this next part of my life? And I really thought it was temporary
Hmm.
until I could get the position. But it was hard at the time because the stock market crashed. They didn't want senior management paying positions. But it wasn't that. It was because I was supposed to do what I'm doing.
When the store started, can you describe with us a few of the moments in the first 5 years where you knew you had either made it, you were getting affirmations where it was just beyond a normal business? You were like, I'm loving this. Can you describe which way you got that signal and said, wow, I am having fun. I love this. I love seeing the reaction of the customers. This isn't about doing good business. This is about hospitality.
Hmm. Yeah, in the first 5 years, even up to 10, 15 years, I was a lot of um, this I have to do because this is what I have to do. I realizing customers would come in and the magnitude, and they still do this to this day, the comfort they felt. They it was a place they could go that was safe. But also, I realized I knew how to do crystal alignments, like with the laying on of stones, which was very not part of my awareness at the time. It was just something that evolved. And that was something that was helping people quite a bit. I also had other angelic type encounters. And like 91, I went down to Bimini and the Berry Islands. We were on a 67-foot catch. So this sailboat was a spiritual journey. That's what it was. There was about, I don't know, 18 people, maybe 15. It was a decent number of people on not that big of a boat. And we sailed across. And when we got to right outside of Bimini, we got stuck on a sandbar. And so we were there for a little while. We had to wait for the tide to shift. But during that time, I had this experience. We all did, but I was the one with my 35 millimeter camera taking pictures. This cloud was forming, and it felt like I was watching a movie where they were using technology to make it happen. And the cloud it should have had sound effects. Even it was like moving up, and you clearly see the wings. It's actually in the back behind the front desk of the Crystal Garden, this huge picture of it. You can see her looking up, the profile of her looking up, a bun on the top of her head, and little like ballet slippers looking things at the bottom of the picture. But the wings have very defined like elbows, if you will, for the wings, showing this angel looking up. And then years later, a customer was looking at it because it's easy to look at when you're checking out. You're looking at this, it's behind the front desk. It was actually a gentleman. He said, "That's an eagle." And I said, "No, no, that's an angel." And he's like, "No, it's an eagle too." And at the time, I was very much into Native American spirituality and studying with medicine men and women at the time. And I had a tribe called the Angelic Warriors tribe, which I think was ironic that here we have this eagle. And it really is. And if you look, like, you change the way you're looking at the photo, now you see a beak coming off one side and that it's flying a direction. And that's just an extra poof, like where her head is just an extra poof of it's just like these things keep evolving. And then also spiritual teachers from all over the world, like mostly the country, but world, wanted to come to my store to teach at a very young age of the Crystal Garden, which was like, how did you even find me? Even spiritual teachers years later would say to me, what, you get to sit here and they come to you? And I was like, I guess so. Even the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull has been there 3 times.
Very cool.
It
Okay,
is.
we're going to shift again. We'll get back to the Crystal Garden. We'll get back to the books, and we'll get back to everything else. But
Sure.
dream time.
Yeah.
There's people who never remember their dreams. There's others who have had those experiences. Have you had a few of those?
Course, yes, yes. So I lately I don't have a great strong remembrance of dreams, but over the years I would be very much into journaling and analyzing the dreams and, helping me with my life as my life evolved. There's this one that I would just shared with a customer the other day because she just had her dad pass away and had a really interesting dream. And so I shared my dream, which was I fell asleep in my living room, and my husband happened to fall asleep in his man cave. So it wasn't in the, we weren't in our normal spots, so to speak. And all of a sudden the alarm woke me up, but the alarm woke me up at the moment I was about to hug my father. And he was luminous. He wasn't he has passed away, by the way. I think you knew that.
Yeah.
And as I'm about to hug him and we're saying, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. And all of a sudden the alarm goes off in the house. And so I got up and fixed the alarm. My husband and I, met at the place where you fix it. And we were like, okay, I don't know what it was. It looks like everything's good. We reset the alarm. And I thought, I'm going back to sleep because I want to see if I can meet up with dad. Why not? This is great. And it happened a second time. And as soon as we were about to hug, or as we were getting closer to each other, that time the hug wasn't part of it. The alarm went off again. I was like, okay, well, dad wanted to. So that was a dream that wasn't a dream, but
I love it. Saying hi.
Yeah, very, very cool. Very cool. But I also wake up from my dreams with book titles. That's how I've written some of my books. One of them that was very emphatic was I had fallen asleep. No, I woke up in the morning like any normal day, but I woke up hearing animal totems and the gemstone kingdom. I knew I had to match the spirit, the crystal vibrations with the animal medicine, the animal kingdom. And so I sent it off to both publishers that published me. And one of them immediately replied and said, yes, this is totally yes. We want a book and a deck. And so I created a book and deck for those.
And you have like 9 decks, I might mention, something like that, right?
7.
7.
Right now it's 7.
It was Llewellyn. It is Llewellyn. And who's the other one that off and on?
Inner Traditions Bear Company. So
Yeah.
Llewellyn publishes most of my books, and Inner Traditions Bear Company with under the Findhorn Press imprint. That's another really cool story. Are you familiar with Findhorn?
Yeah, no, Findhorn's out of Scotland, and it's still in existence, sort of, but the school side of it, I believe, has gone defunct now, but the publishing side's doing great.
The publishing house got purchased by Inner Traditions.
Perfect. And
so
all these groups that you're talking about have been around for 30 plus years.
Yeah. Oh, and Llewellyn's 1901.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Llewellyn's far and wide, high and low, left and right. If it's the spiritual landscape, there's probably nothing that they haven't covered before. So
I agree with you. It's true. Yeah, but that was a cool coincidence too with Findhorn Press. I grew up loving the Findhorn community information. Soon as I read The Spirit of Findhorn back in, I want to say the 70s, I really, like, I said to my mother, my goodness, these people are much like the way you think and taught me in the garden, because I'm literally a gardener. Like, it's right out here. And so I've always had a strong connection with the Findhorn community. And I was sitting at the front desk at my store one day and this phone rang, and it was actually a sales rep for Findhorn. And they had called, and I said, oh, by the way, I have, a little boy that keeps asking me about making a book for children, which I do have now. Do you know any publishers that might be open to that? And so they referred me. That's how I got into Fintorn. They referred me to the acquisitions editor over at Fintorn, and it's the Chakra Awakening for young kids. It's called Color Your Life with Crystals, and it's like a metaphysical primer, a book about positive thought, and also, of course, the chakras.
Awesome. And for people who don't know Finhorn, it's in Scotland. It's a community that could go back to even the 60s, but they had communication going on with, I'll just say, divas, fairies, just positive, loving energies, and had conversations about growing their vegetables. So instead of a normal sized watermelon, it would be bigger, or your carrots would be ginormous. And also, I forget which field creature we're talking about, but the type that might eat vegetables. They asked them to relocate, and they witnessed groups of those animals. I don't know, it's not ferrets, but whatever's smaller and cuddlier. They actually vacated that area and moved over. It was an enormous and incredible experience that they were able to put in writing. And I know it impacted a lot of people all around the globe, but the Finhorn community continues today. They're not really available for retreats anymore and all the classes and
Oh,
stuff like that. That side shut down. The board of directors just closed it down. They didn't, the pandemic, I think, finished them off. But the press side obviously got bought out. And then they still have something going on there.
they
Part of
do.
it continues, yes. But they made that announcement, unfortunately, about a year and a half ago. I think Marie
Mhm.
Sorois, I can never pronounce names correctly. She, I think, is affiliated with them somehow, and she's one of our guests coming up in the fall of 2024. So I'm very excited to have her on. Okay, Margaret, back to you. Have
Yeah.
you had a trip around the globe that fits or is in alignment with some of the other stories you've shared? Was there a trip overseas somewhere, Mexico, Asia, India? I don't know. I mean, it could be just in the backyard. It could be the Bahamas, Caribbean, somewhere. Did you have something happen somewhere that you thought was just uber special?
Well, besides the one that I already shared, which was like Bahamas, Bimini.
And that was big.
Yeah, that was a big one. Of course, yeah, I've been to I used to bring people on sacred sites tours throughout. And so I brought people to Peru twice with a Peruvian medicine man as our main facilitator. And those were definitely profound. And then there was one that was we went to the other sacred sites tour was the Michael Mary Ley Line tour in France and England.
Ooh.
And so I co-facilitated with another American and a British gentleman who is also an astrologer extraordinaire. And that one not only was profound on so many levels, but for two examples. One example is while I was in Cornwall at Tintagel, which is the ruins of Arthur's castle, King Arthur. I hit my head on the cave of initiation that they used to bring the kings through, which a cave has no give, and I ended up going blind in my left eye. By the time I came home, it created optic neuritis, and I got my eyesight back. I can see beautifully, but sometimes I have a droopy eye from time to time. But the point is, more importantly, is that during that time I had some really amazing realizations because I wasn't really supposed to read. I wasn't supposed to really if I watch TV, it had to be from a distance, and this eye covered, so it made an introspection happen that was the beginning of the birth of Chakra Awakening, which was my first book.
Hmm. I was reaching for the cover, but we're going to have a beautiful slide that I'll put throughout the show that you can check
Nice.
out the book covers. And again, if you walk into a bookstore, it's really hard not to come across one of your books.
Oh,
So
that
with
makes me
that,
so happy.
what is one of those moments though that you were even afraid to tell the tour, your friends, right away you had something happen where you were like, wow, I need
Hmm.
to like process this first and it might take me a while. Was there ever another one of those moments somewhere, either on one of these journeys in Florida, the backyard, with the family, without the family?
You
Maybe,
know, I
yeah.
guess so. Yeah. One of the trips is I've gone on a lot of trips, so it's like you are hitting the nail on the head there. One of them, I was a supporter for people going on Vision Quest in Michoacan, Mexico, and I was Mexican and Native, And prior to going on the trip, I had concern because it was going to be a full-on regular Native American church ceremony, which includes peyote. And so I had spoken with my native, the medicine man that was here from Peru, but here in the United States, and we talked about it in advance. And so that was fine, okay. But he said, but you're not going to understand a lot because everything's going to be in Spanish. I said, but I took 4 years of Spanish in high school. It's possible that I'll get the gist. I'm not too worried. So we get there, and one of the things that really was really profound. I don't know if I could say I didn't want to tell anybody, but almost immediately in the beginning of this 19-hour ceremony in a teepee with 200 people, um, they started everything in English, and it's like, what? And you know why? It was because Black Elk, as in Black Elk Speaks, Grandfather Wallace Black Elk, who was the real head of that whole thing going on, happened to come to that particular vision quest. And so I kept having experiences because I spoke English, that I was the one that would bring grandfather his food. I was the one that would say, come on, grandfather, dinner's ready. You want us to serve you here? And I had sat in a sweat lodge with him. We smoked the pipe in the lodge for the little ones. We had, for the kids, we had, so that was one of those almost like a Forrest Gump kind of moments where you're like, whoa. And who could you tell? I had to wait till I got home to tell anybody that one.
That's a big deal. That's a good memory too.
It
Okay,
is.
let's flip this pancake a little. Your guardian angel. You've had interactions. Do you know their name? Have you had dreams with them? Have you seen them physically? Where are you on the curve? And again, remember, guardian angels for most folks, we get shy about it. We kind of know. We have little stuff happen. How do you describe your interaction with your guardian angel?
I would say mine is more like an invisible friend, an if. So here we have growing from very young age, moving over in my chair so my angel could sit next to me, which was common in Catholic schools anyway. But that was something that it felt like it was palpable. Seeing, no. Hearing, yeah, mostly clairaudient. I come to realize over the years that I'm primarily clairaudient. But now I don't think I could say I've seen them, and I don't necessarily see angels unless they become a manifest reality, like happened with that of Cloud, that kind of thing. So I've always had from a very young age a knowingness that my guardian angel is right by my side all the time. Even one of my aromatherapy sprays is called guardian angel spray.
I like that. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Hey, we're gonna switch to auras, kind of chakras. Just we'll call it universal light. We'll call it whatever you want to call it. I know there's a lot of the Force from Star Wars or love, sparkly and fun. With your permission, I'll put up my fingers though, and I'll use a background. Blue sky would be number one, but I don't have a sky behind me. Whoop, here. So I've got a black background, and we're gonna blow some sage later. This is the craziest stuff we'll do in the interview today, but I'll show my fingers like they do in Celestine Prophecy, the movie. But a guest this year said that, hey, in the 70s, before that movie existed, they were doing it this way to see the filament of light between a person's fingers. And I know in India, they do it this way. You'll be able to see my light flow. Give yourself permission, breathe. Your heart is already going to see it. I get to tell a dad joke. And if you're laughing, you're letting go. I'll give you an original dad joke. Got it. Okay. So what's the only flower found on the human face? Tulips. And you can see a stream of light between my fingers. It'll be white, gold, green, yellow, blue. And someone said iris the other day, so they're correct too. There's two answers. Do you see, Margaret, any filament of light between my fingers?
I see a little bit of like red vibes and an off-white. Yes.
Yay, cool. That was it. Anybody wants to do that at home, give yourself a break, think of something pleasant, hug your dog first, jump in the shower, jump out of the shower, jump in the pool, jump out of the pool. But the blue sky is great. You got to breathe though. So it's your heart's already kind of connected to everything. It's like the sports analogy, being on the field and you scored 4 goals in a row in 3rd grade. The poor little kids were running all over. You just knew you had it and bam. With that, can you give us an introduction into auras, chakras, how you covered the topic, and also, did you use it in business dealings? Do you have a pretty good lock on people when they walk through the front door of your store? Were you using it in banking? let's tie it into the intuitive guidance system as well. But it's got to be your lingo because everyone's got a different way of saying all the same thing.
So the power of working with the power of colors started while I was a banker. And
Ah,
I used to teach my staff. I had a staff of about 40 people, and I would teach other courses besides how to process a mortgage or, et cetera, how to read a tax return. And one of them was the power of color. And also, I used to change what I was wearing. So this is for Archangel Michael. What I have intention with color because I have intention with everything. So I did that, but not from a metaphysical standpoint back when I was a banker. And I would wear specific clothing, colors, suits at that time for specific meetings that I knew were about to occur. So that was very normal for me. And then when I got into the world of crystals and gemstones, of course, the color associates with the chakra system of each one of those stones is very evident because of the color it's vibrating, and that's what even more or less defines the qualities, or what my perception of the qualities of what that stone can help amplify and make better. And so that's how it evolved from working with doing the crystal. I remember I mentioned about doing crystal alignments at a very early point in the crystal garden. The more I got to understand and know the chakras from my own personal experiences, then I started writing articles for the newsletter that I had at the time that used to be print and used to be mailed to people. And then people kept asking for my book. They'd say, "Where is your book? I love this article. I want to read your book." And so I thought, oh, maybe I should write a book. And that's how that evolved into the chakra awakening. But I also had, I don't use it anymore, but the because it's on a computer that has XP on it, but I had the aura imaging photography installed in my computer, and with the hand, where you put your hands on the plates, and then you get the aura on a Polaroid picture, photograph. And that helped me understand people also, and it helped me help them by seeing what colors were in their auric field and help them to get to know themselves better. It wasn't mostly I'm not big into fortune telling of any kind, but when it comes to the auric field, I think it can help people understand themselves better. Do I see colors literally when people come in? No, not necessarily, not consciously. Once
accidentally, once in a blue moon,
once
twice
in
a
a
year.
while,
Yeah.
but mostly it's to let me know somebody is sick or over the top sad.
Okay.
And so that helps me know how to interact with them and hopefully uplift and be supportive in their process. Because people do come into the store. Yeah, they come into shop. Thank goodness. That's why we're still there 36 years. But a lot of them are coming in to feel the good vibes, to feel the energy. In fact, I just recently started writing down, if somebody tells me something, I run back to my desk and I put it into the, in fact, a Canva, a video. I make a video out of it so that, because all these quotes of people and their experiences are amazing, as far as coming to the vibration of the store, because the store clears their energy, it makes them feel safe. And I know that doesn't necessarily exactly relate to color, but it does in a way, because it's creating an auric field.
Definitely. Hey, well, I'll buy you time because I'm going to ask next. We're going on one of those little tangents. What are your three favorite crystal types? I'll buy time because I happen to have crystals right here. I had them before we did the show today. I'll do a Tibetan crystal quartz that happens to have a happy face in here with a little bit of tourmaline in there.
Oh, cool. That's
And
beautiful.
are you like, oh my God, what was it called? Um, Lovejoy. What was the name of the A&E antique furniture series from the 80s or 90s?
Hmm.
It was a furniture collector, antiques. We're talking old pieces. And it's a very famous Ian somebody, English actor, who his heart would palpitate when he saw a prize antique thing. And it was more of a detective series. But here he is, an antique um, collector, and his whole persona would change when he sees an amazing piece. Are you the same way with crystals? Do you react a little bit when you see?
I do. If it's an amazing piece, that is an amazing piece. So that actually looks like a Tibetan herkimer, not
Uh,
just quartz. Is it? Is
yes,
it
and you
double
you have the
tourmaline?
English. I mispronounce everything and don't even know my lingo. So yes.
No, you do it. I think you said Tibetan quartz. That's fine. But
Okay.
Herkimers are quartz. It's just that they're all normally come from Herkimer, New York, but they're Tibetan ones too.
Yeah.
So we're showing crystals because I have quite the
Well, and I
collection.
have two more, and then we'll have you
Okay.
pick your three. I've got, and again, I can't pronounce this at all, but apophyllite.
Apophyllite. Yeah,
Yeah.
apophyllite. That's an apophyllite tip off of the top of a crystal. And that is really, have you ever put that on your third eye? Ooh, meditate with that on your third eye. It's really powerful.
And one more, citrine, and you'll know the lingo for this.
That is a citrine double terminated point. Looks very nice. Lots of rainbows, lots of inclusions. Great for self-confidence, courage, happiness, joy, and ability to digest life. It's a good one to help you when you're feeling overwhelmed.
I love it. Now, without having to go and get a 20, 30 pounder in any way, but what in the three that are just coming to mind, so it's more spontaneous. We're not holding you to your all-time three favorites.
Oh, no, no, no problem. I have like about 50 right here.
I bet.
So this one is called an celestial crystal. Let's see. Am I putting it in a good spot for you to see?
Yeah, yeah.
And so this one on this face has a lot of record keeper markings. There are triangles on that. So this is an celestial quartz, smoky quartz crystal. And this is said that the legend that goes with celestial quartz is that it comes down through the ethers, brought from the angels, and it gets singed to look like and like skeletal. And that is great for channeling the divine, connecting with higher consciousness and becoming consciously aware. But there's so many, I wish it was visible, but they're right on this facet. I don't know if you can see the triangles. It's hard to tell, I think. They're right here. But there's a lot of triangles on there. Anyway, so that's one. Let's see who wants to be next. You know what? I really have a thing
You can do
for.
4 or 5 if you want.
Oh, I have so many. This is sunset sodalite. And I like it because it's peaceful and calming, and it's really good for communicating and staying at peace. Sometimes we just need that extra boost. So I have quite a bit of sodalite here on my desk.
I love sodalite.
Do you? That's cool. See, there's a bunch more here.
Yeah, I've got some brick versions of it that are bluish, with the white streaks
Going through.
back.
That's calcite.
There's something called Nature's Treasures up in Austin, Texas. That's one of the crystal rock stores, if I said it correctly, and they've been around for a while. Up in Austin, Texas.
That's cool. I've been to quite a few bookstores in Texas. See how this is flat? This is a tabular quartz crystal, and this tabular quartz is actually quite a big one, and it's been to a lot of sacred sites.
You took it with you.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. I bring it all over. In fact, I have a whole box here filled with all the tabular quartz that have been to all the sacred sites. And I used to lend it to people in little pouches, like these little pouches, so that they could wear them throughout the whole trip. And they're like keys to activate consciousness. We used to activate the grids of light. This one is one of the keys right here.
Ooh, very pretty.
It's a fodden, I guess, plastic out of the way.
Yeah, totally unusual shape. I've never seen anything like that.
And it's really clear. I've had this very long time. This is one of the keys. So that's called tabular quartz or tabbies. And let's see who else wants to come out and play. There's so many here. I guess I'm drawn to all the celestials because here's like another big celestial. See how there's so much going on in there? And this one has, you could see all the clay is inside of it. And it's fully terminated. So they're very good for, I like them because I'm writing. So I want to I want to know what I'm supposed to say, what needs to be addressed, what the information is. I do, of course, research, but because if I'm writing about aromatherapy, I better know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
But some of them sing.
Ooh.
Can you hear that? Not all crystals.
Not the way the microphones are working out right now, but
did you hear something?
I heard rubbing maybe, but not. Yeah, it's not coming through.
Okay, that's all right.
That's all
You
right.
can just believe, you can believe me.
Yeah, I believe you. How about celestite? What do you think of celestite
Celestite or celestite, I think it's
or
beautiful.
celestite? Sorry, yeah.
No, no, I always have to say it both ways. Isn't that funny? There's certain stones that I say two ways because who knows which way the accent's supposed to be. But celestite or celestite is how my assistant says it too, is really helpful when you're communicating with the angelic realm. That pastel blue, and it's so clear. It's a really translucent stone, very good. And also Mother Mary vibe. I'm very connected with Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, and I feel like that stone can help you tap in, tune in to the divine feminine wisdom as well.
Hmm. Okay, talk to us about something else we haven't covered because I mean, there's a lot of fields, not necessarily aromatherapy, but more as we go through our, daily existence. We're walking a path. We all have a unique life path. What can we do to maybe slow down, take a breath, and appreciate or allow more or show love always? How does, Margaret Ann Lembo describe all this?
Well, it does mean you do have to physically stop. So that's one thing. You do have to stop. My way, and that I encourage people to do, is to take time in nature and spend a moment to really, they use the expression, but it's true, take time to smell the roses, to stop and look and notice everything in your environment, be connected with the soles of your feet touching Mother Earth, and that there's energy coming out of the soles of your feet, and that when you're walking, you can even feel the vibe in the palms of your hand, both hands, and you're connecting and seeing and feeling and looking at the flowers. I'm blessed being in the tropics here, so there's very unusual plants, but I have like a lang lang tree, and the lang lang tree is a perfume tree. Have you ever heard of lang lang, the
Mm-mm.
aromatherapy? So it's an essential oil too, but it stems from the actual flowers that come off of the tree. Can step inside of underneath the skirt of the tree and go in, and you're just like enveloped. So if there's a tree in your neighborhood, be a tree hugger. That's my thing. Be a tree hugger and stop and pause, even if you're not physically, but stand near a tree and ground. Earthing.
What about water?
So I am also blessed with a saltwater pool in my backyard, and one of my favorite things to do is to spend time treading water and praying,
Mm.
thinking of all the people in my world and people that I may have just met that maybe are having a little hard time of it, and sending blessings their way, whether it's, a dear friend that maybe just lost their husband, or someone who's struggling with addiction, is just, or the person I saw that was homeless that I was driving to work, and bringing them back into consciousness, and sending some prayers around that and sending good vibes their way, because everything is energy, and all energy is received and sent, and it helps. It makes a difference.
And we're going to jump again on another topic. It'll be basically manifesting or allowing more to get out of your own way to go in the direction of your heart, and letting the universe do its job. So you're hyper disciplined. You've put it together at an earlier age, career wise, maybe first, but it's gone both ways for you, spirituality and business, and then both. Talk to us about your approach for, again, getting out of your own way and, I don't know, having a smoother path to walk. And I'll say positivity is abundance, just to plug a little piece of the show title.
Well, I will plug that all day long with you, all day long, and it's all the power of positive thought as far as I'm concerned. People come in and they'll say, well, what will this crystal do? Can I get a boyfriend this way? I'm like, is that what you want? Is what would you like? So it's always the power of positive thought, and working with the vibration of visualize and seeing, what is it that I really want in my world. And so what I primarily recommend is focusing on the vibration of love, and feeling that love vibrates all around you, in front of you, behind you, and that when you're looking at another person, that what's coming out of your eyes is love. The words have a vibration of love. I'm not sure that I'm answering your question, though. I feel like I went on a tangent myself. You like to go flipping there, but did I answer your question?
Oh, you did good, or you did well on this, but why don't we do it this way? If a person had a desire to change careers, how would you recommend, what 3 steps would you recommend daily that they could take, even for just 5 minutes, to help them open up enough to allow for that shift in
Mhm.
consciousness?
I would say the first thing would be the power of creative visualization and creatively visualizing and imagine your world as if it has already existed. I do singing bowl events on a fairly regular basis. And during those, that is the primary purpose. Besides balancing and aligning the energy field, each one of the chakras, it's also so that people have time to just imagine, visualize while the bowls are playing. So using sound to amplify it, and their crystal bowls, but also taking that time to really, what will I be wearing? What will it look like? What time of day would I get up if I was doing that new career? What kind of people would I be interacting with? How would I feel? All the elements that you could possibly think of in manifesting reality. And so often when I first started the store, I even remember I not only did that, but I also would write about it. I would journal about it. What color are the walls? Oh, I have to, and then the organized part, which has to do with, I need to get a permit. I need to open my checking account, all the details on all aspects, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. All four have to be covered. And the physical is often sometimes forgotten because we want to do the woo woo aspect. And that's nothing wrong with the woo woo, but we also still need to stay grounded, and that's how we manifest, is being very grounded and confident. We have to improve our confidence and have the courage to step forward, believe in oneself.
Mm. Okay, so by writing it down, it's the equivalent of brush strokes in a painting of what your future is going to look like. And so trust in the journaling, trust in the writing. You can't do it wrong, and you can't get into too much detail. You're spending creative energy, which is coming out of here, to, again, allow the universe to meet you halfway or more than halfway. It just depends on how a person's rolling and what their language is on this. Let me do it this way. Would you agree it's much simpler than people think, no matter what we're talking about today, maybe all these topics, because it's not about thinking, it's about down here. But can you finish the rest of that proposition? It's much simpler than people think because it's not about up here. It's not about thinking. It's about less thinking. And it's more about, and then can you use your language to talk about, well, what is it about? The heart, unconditional love, allowing with capital A. How do you describe
And feeling, you
feeling?
feeling it, feeling what it would feel. What does that feel like?
Hmm.
Yeah, but love always has to be a component. It always is a component if you want a happy life and people to feel good and you feel good. I think it's feeling. I'm trying to think of what else to even say about that. Is just thinking, feeling. That's what the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects are, and that works on all those levels as well. The feeling, how does it feel to be in that position, and how does it feel to, if I was trying to manifest a trip, can I visualize and feel like what it would feel like? What kind of clothes am I going to be wearing, and all that, and all the details.
Hmm. Uh, we'll wrap it up shortly, but I want to ask about books, authors, some of the classic names out there. Do you
Mhm.
carry books in your store? And are you like, of course? And then if it's of course, can you tell us who some of your favorite authors have been over the years?
Sure, sure, of course. Yes, of course I carry books. Yes, and I'm always carrying new books and new authors as well. Favorite books, I would say Jamie Sam's books, like Dancing with the Wheel. I mean, not Dancing with the Wheel. What is it called? 13 Original Clan Mothers by Jamie Sams. I also love her medicine cards and sacred path cards. Numerology and the Divine Triangle by Dusty Bunker. And she has a co-author that I can't think of at the moment. Also, Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love, is a very powerful, potent way to connect with the vibration of love. And it's simple, easy to read, that kind of thing. Ted Andrews, Animal Speak, Animal Wise, all of Ted Andrews' books. In fact, it was Ted Andrews that introduced me literally to the publisher, Bill at Llewellyn, and said, you should need to publish this girl. And that's how I got my first book is dedicated to Ted,
And Ted's been around a long time.
Yes, he's passed over though quite a few years ago, unfortunately, back around the time my book came out.
Hmm.
But it was because he read my manuscript and went right over to Llewellyn and said, this is good. You can publish her. And they believed him. And now here I am. I think out of the 11 books, they have 10 of them
Hmm.
that
Very
I've written.
nice.
Yeah.
What would you want to, well, actually, let me do something that's a staple of the show. I almost forgot. I'm going to blow some sage from Texas. We did this before the show. Anyone can smell sage. The time and space thing isn't what you think it is. Two screens, don't let it hold you back. So if it's 2030 and you're in Germany or New Zealand, no big shakes. I did this as a guest on like, I don't know, 60 something shows in the last 2.5 years. It doesn't matter whether you're the guest, the show host, the whatever, the audience, just breathe and relax. And if you need a little extra help, my only bit of rule or structure is, I'm going to look blank and vacuous, but it's ask the universe, ask angels to get you out of your head into your heart and get that noggin working, but it's really your heart sensing it. So I've packed it full of fresh sage. I'm going to light some sage. Give yourself permission to catch without burning my finger there.
Mhm.
Here, let me do this. Give yourself permission to catch the smoke. Some people start tasting it or smelling it right away, just seeing a little bit of flame. And this is Juniper Ridge out of California. I think it's in all the Whole Foods. So very steady Eddie sage, fun. They have good incense sticks. Not sponsored in any way. Red-tailed hawk feather, catch a little bit of sage. And if anybody needs extra help, breathe extra through the mouth, through the nose, but mouth works for some reason a little better. It's like turning up the volume. Margaret, are you getting in Florida a little bit of sage right now?
Sure, absolutely. I love
Yay.
the I feel it vibrationally.
Good. And if anybody wants to ask, let's do, because you did the theme of roses today and it really kind of resonated. Let's ask for roses as well and catch what you can catch. And then I'll snub this out. And I'll do one more dad joke for folks, because if you're laughing, you're letting go. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street, you've already heard this one. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. I always like laughter, because if you're laughing, you're definitely letting go. I've never met anybody who's fake laughing. With that, Margaret, can you just share with us a final bit about, Buddhists or the Zen thing would talk about opening to openness itself being from here to here. And for some of us, that's a lifetime, because as a kid, we had it together. Then we did adulting, trauma. We try as hard as we can not to get to here. And there's a lot of reasons not to open up, feel what you feel, not judge. We get stuck. What's, again, your big picture advice for us all as we do this thing called life as human beings?
I believe the most important thing is I'm going to return back to love. And so one of my common thought forms is I am love. All that is attracted to you and all that surrounds you is love. But I say I am love. All that is attracted to me and all that is in my energy field is love. And that it works all the time is to remember that what that is our essence, our true essence is love. And to, even though we're working for the heart, the throat, and the third eye vibe, is to remember to stay grounded, to remember to feel the roots growing from the soles of your feet into Mother Earth with all that we do. Is to have, because we're here on, we get to be in this body, we get to have this time on planet Earth, and I feel that's a gift.
And can you take us one last layer in this direction? It's not about the trying, and don't take my words the wrong way. So try as much as you want, do as much as you want. But I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
make the argument that part of this is actually the opposite. It's slowing down the doing, slowing down the trying, and a little more trust. You can call it faith, religious, non-religious faith, that letting go to be
Mm-hmm.
here and let the universe do its job. But I know you've got a lot of experience on that front and some pretty strong opinions about it. Can you just touch on that concept of it's so much bigger than we're ever going to appreciate through the brain or through thinking, and that's what you're doing with not just the manifesting but the trusting, the allowing. Your business sense is married to your spiritual sense, your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to folks one last bit about that allowing factor, that the universe is far bigger? If you just let it do its job, you're going to be surprised one way or the other. But talk to us about the asking part. uh,
The asking part.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. So the asking part is not like, how can I? It's not about, please send me. It's about knowing that everything that you need, everything that you ever need is always within you already. It's already become manifest. It's just a matter of doing. Well, doing isn't even the right word, it's just a matter of allowing. And we'd have to probably go to allowing for that one. We have unlimited potential. You have it, I have it, everybody. Nobody's different. No, like, I don't have more potential than somebody else. I may realize more potential or I may realize less, but we all have unlimited potential. I personally believe that. I don't know if everybody believes that, but I think we do have unlimited. So if we remember that and just comfortably accept that we have unlimited potential, then if anybody, it's sort of like when somebody says, will I ever blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't know. Do you want to? Is that what you want? So if you want it, yes, of course. You just have to allow and do and be who you truly are.
I love it. Margaret Ann Lembo, thank you very much for being a guest on Angels, Positivity, and Love, coming to us from Florida. Can you just describe Crystal Garden, the shop? If people are only going to listen to this, they're not going to look at the details below the video. Can you describe how they can find the shop, its location, physicality?
Sure. So the Crystal Garden is in Boynton Beach, Florida, which is Palm Beach County. And we are 3 blocks north of Gateway Boulevard on Federal Highway. For those of you that live in the neighborhood, you can also visit us on thecrystalgarden.com and check it out. We've always got great things going on. We have Facebook Live sales. We have events that I do in store, sometimes online. There's always something going on all of our platforms, including mine. So it's the Crystal Garden or Margaret Ann Lembo. Everything is so much available for you. YouTube channel, check it out too, with so many things to offer to uplift, inspire, and help you feel the love that you truly are.
Awesome. Margaret, thank you again.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.